to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Ms.
Okay.
Marr, I want to start with you. Just generally, would you say you generally agree or disagree with the following statement? The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles?
I would not say I agree with that, sir.
You're not. That's good to hear. It's interesting because a lot of your thinking, as expressed by your public statements, is deeply infused with economic and cultural Marxism. Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half-decade.
It has evolved. Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
Apologies, I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I'd no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall that.
Okay. Do you believe that white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't? You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. Ha, how white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I've never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said it in January of 2020. You tweeted, yes, the North, yes, all of us, yes, America, yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt, yes, reparations, yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay, how much reparations have you personally paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone
Seems
to pay
to be what you're
reparations, sir.
suggesting. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as counterproductive. I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you believe it's morally
law.
wrong, though?
Of course.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being illegal.
You tweeted, it's hard to be mad about protests in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't believe that was at my time at NPR.
You tweeted that you read that book, but
I don't believe that I did read that book, sir.
Do you think that a few years ago NPR educated America about, quote, the whole community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts? Do you think that that's an appropriate use of tax dollars?
I was not at NPR at the time, sir.
That's not the question, though. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of our tax dollars?
I think our tax dollars that we use are to be able to provide a wide range of
I'll take that as a yes. You do believe that that's appropriate. Your health advisor at NPR also stated in an interview that, quote, fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat. Would you like to explain how fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat? That's an editorial at NPR.
I am not familiar with the editorial, and I don't believe that was published during my time here.
It's called Diet Culture is Everywhere. Here's how to fight it. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I think any reporting on health is an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars, yes.
And you think that editorializing that fat is not unhealthy is appropriate?
What happens when a mayor claims her city is safe, but lawmakers confront her with a decade's worth of rising crime statistics? That's exactly what went down in a high-stakes congressional hearing when Representative Brandon Gill grilled Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. The heated back-and-forth covered public safety, police funding, migrant housing, and controversial campus protests. Neither side backed down. Here's the breakdown of how it all played out. Representative Gill kicked off the questioning with a direct test. After nearly 10 years leading the nation's capital, does Mayor Bowser consider Washington, D.C. a safe city? Bowser's response was a simple yes. Gill immediately hit back with raw numbers. He pointed out that D.C. consistently ranks among the cities with the highest murder rates in the nation. When pressed on homicide trends throughout her tenure, Bowser acknowledged that murder rates had indeed gone up. Gill then brought out Metropolitan Police Department data showing a steep surge in both homicides and carjackings between 2014 and 2024, using the figures to argue that public safety under her leadership has severely deteriorated. The clash quickly shifted to law enforcement strategies. Gill repeatedly pressed Bowser on a fundamental question: does cutting police budgets make communities safer or more dangerous? Instead of taking the bait, Bowser firmly stood her ground, clarifying that she has never defunded D.C.'s police department and has consistently backed law enforcement throughout her time in office. However, Gill pushed further. He questioned why city grants were awarded to an organization that had publicly advocated for reducing the role of police. Bowser countered that the grant in question was strictly dedicated to public health initiatives, not political advocacy. Still, Gill maintained that taxpayer dollars shouldn't flow to groups promoting anti-police stances. Next, the debate turned to D.C.'s migrant policies. Gill called into question the city's use of local taxpayer funds to provide housing assistance for migrants arriving in D.C. Bowser defended the city's approach, arguing that D.C. has a duty to prevent homelessness no matter how an individual arrives.
I don't know what that article is, sir, and I'm not familiar with it, so I
This
couldn't
is
say.
fake news. Do you think that basic accommodations like doorways or seat belts represent, quote, latent fat phobia?
I don't have an opinion.
It's
on that,
also
sir.
from NPR. Do you think civility is racist?
No, sir.
No. Well, your outlet ran an article entitled, quote, when civility is used as a cudgel against people of color. That was on All Things Considered. Would you like to explain?
I'm not on the editorial side, sir. I'm not familiar with that story.
You talk about how NPR is news. This is editorialization, and I'll read it. For many people of color in the United States, civility isn't so much social lubricant as it is a vehicle for containing them, preventing social mobility, and preserving the status quo. This is garbage. I'll spend all of my time doing everything I can to ensure you guys never get another dollar of taxpayer funding. This is complete garbage. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gill. I now recognize.
She turned the focus back onto border state governors, criticizing them for busing migrants to the capital without prior coordination. Gill argued local residents shouldn't bear the financial burden, while Bowser framed it as an unavoidable humanitarian response. Finally, Gill raised the spring 2024 pro-Palestinian demonstrations at George Washington University that he alleged that protesters illegally blocked public streets for weeks, creating an environment where Jewish students felt intimidated. He demanded to know why law enforcement didn't step in sooner to clear the encampments. Bowser flatly rejected the assertion that she held back the police. She insisted that the Metropolitan Police Department acted appropriately, intervened when necessary, and was never instructed to turn a blind eye to illegal activity. By the end of the hearing, the divide was absolute. Gill framed the exchange as proof of failed leadership, arguing that rising crime rates, controversial grant funding, migrant spending, and delayed protest responses showed a city administration out of touch with public safety. Bowser held the line, pointing to D.C.'s ongoing appeal as a place where people live, work, and invest, while reiterating that she has always championed law enforcement. IT was a classic policy showdown reflecting the broader national battle over crime, accountability, and municipal leadership. If you found this breakdown helpful, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more coverage of key congressional hearings and political debates. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.